Hey everybody, Aaron here. Welcome back to another video. Today we have a very interesting tag video. One I think is probably one of the hardest I've ever had to do in terms of tags, and it's probably also going to be the longest video I've done in tag video history, and that is the look at 50 otaku facts about myself. Now, I was tagged by LitaKina, who is an awesome friend of mine. Definitely go check out our channel. I will leave a link to her channel in the description box below. Help her reach 1,000 subs. She deserves, of all people I know, 1,000 subs. She does more writing for blogs and stuff than anything else, but when she makes videos, she makes some awesome videos, so definitely go support her channel out. But yeah, I have a list quite literally right next to me of things I had to write down because this is something I could not do from the top of my head. Usually I don't like to do scripted stuff, but this one's gonna be scripted to a certain degree, because it would have been almost impossible to be honest with you without doing this. I will kind of talk a little bit more about a certain choice, like if I get to like one and then have to like kind of elaborate, I will elaborate about it. But I'm gonna try to run through this as fast as I can. If you have any questions, you could always ask me in the comments below, and I am going to just tag everyone. I'll just say that right now because I know a lot of people that could probably do this tag, but also at the same time are very busy currently, so I don't want to tag anyone specifically in the field like they're forced to do it. So I'm going to tag first and foremost anyone who wants to do this. You can feel free to tag, be tagged and do it. It's in your own head at least. All right. Anyways, first fact. I'm terrible at remembering anime characters' names. Now, as many of you know, I review anime, which is not a good thing sometimes when it's like I forget their names. I'm sorry about that in advance, but I have so much difficulty remembering anime names. Number two, I prefer openings to ending songs. Typically, I usually go, I like just the openings better. I don't really too often like ending songs. I think most ending songs don't really feel that great. They're mostly just kind of this ending song that just is there for credits to me. I'll be honest with you, there's a few ending songs that are great, but most are kind of passable to me. I've never watched a hentai. The closest I've ever got to watching a hentai is Akisora, and I don't really consider that a hentai, but I've never watched a hentai in my life. Number four, I skip openings a lot. I will listen to them in terms of like the music, mind you. Don't think I'm not listening to them, but I skip the looking at them because the thing is that I don't like being spoiled a lot of times, and openings are notorious for having spoilers. So I usually go and just close my eyes and listen to the beat. Once in a while I kind of forget to do that, and then I end up seeing stuff and I'm like, oh man, now I know what's going to happen eventually in the show, and it's unavoidable, but I do have that issue. Number five, I think 830 plus anime on Mal recorded, but I'm still missing a few dozen, and the ones I haven't recorded are the ones that some people are like, oh, you haven't seen that yet? What? That's crazy. I probably have, but if I really can't remember anything about it, I don't like putting it as completed, only for the sheer fact that then I feel kind of like, oh, I'm going to say this is completed, but I can't give it a score, and I feel like that's kind of a half-assed thing to do, so I don't do that. So I probably have almost 1,000 shows watched. It's just that I really, I'm only saying like I have 830, and I really try not to include too many OVAs, but I do have OVAs included with that. Number six, I don't celebrate anime characters' birthdays. It's no point to me. It's a fictional character. Real person, real voice actor, actress, fine. That's a real person. Anime characters, no, it's weird to me. But if you're one of those people that does that, feel free. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not a big deal. Number seven, and I know this one's gonna give me a lot of flack, but I've had this before happen in the past. I prefer the original Fullmetal Alchemist to Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. I feel it already. Like 20,000 people want to yell at me right now. I get that. Trust me, guys and girls, I know. But for me, I've always liked the darker tones of the original series more than I like the more kind of manga version of the story. It's not that it's bad. I love Brother. I think I gave it an 8 on Mal, even though one time I used to get a lot of flack because it was a 7 on Mal. It wasn't by definition me doing that. It was actually more so that if you guys know the My Anime List app, that thing does not work very well sometimes. I've had things being erased off there. I've had scores changed several times. So it was changed, I swear to you, but people don't believe that. I'm just being honest with you, that you believe it or not. Number 8, I love cute anime. I really do. I'm a sucker for cute things in general. So the cuter it is, the more I will actually like it. I love like the Nyako Days, which was basically about little cat girls. That was so cute to me. I love obviously Banana, and I mean, I even have like a banana keychain which is on the floor right now, but I would have showed it to you if I could have. Number 9. Ironically, I love the Dot Hack series in terms of the games, the light novels, the manga, so on. I do not like most of the anime, to be honest with you. I don't really particularly care for Dot Hack Sign anymore. I love Dot Hack Roots. It's not too bad. I think it's one of the better ones. Some of the movies, Dot Hack GU Returner wasn't too bad, or actually the trilogy, I think it's called actually. And I also didn't think that it's the not Twilight. No, Twilight was Bracelet. I can't stand, and I can't really stand Quantum something, whatever it's called. But there was one other series of Dot Hack anime that I did like, and it was a short one. But yeah, most of the anime series can't stand. But even though I love the Dot Hack, world in general, it's very weird. I know. But I'm weird when it comes to that. Number 10, most people know this. I love romance anime. I'm a sucker for romance anime. I'm very picky about romance anime though because of that. Number 11, I love Dragon Ball Z, but I'm not a huge fan of the original Dragon Ball. Again, I can feel the stabs of hatred from other people. That does not mean I hate the original Dragon Ball. I don't want to make people say, oh, you hate it. I don't hate it. I just don't like it as much as Dragon Ball Z, just being honest. Dragon Ball Z was what I watched originally first. That's what I got into the Dragon Ball world, and I obviously then went back and watched, I think, the whole thing of Dragon Ball. Didn't particularly care for it. I love it more than obviously GT. GT I think is horrible, and Super. We're not talking about Super. I started watching a little bit of that, and I immediately went, nope, I'm good. So yeah, I do like the original Dragon Ball Z though. That's my favorite. The original one, I'm not a huge fan of. And by the way, I apologize if you hear me snore a little bit. I feel like I'm getting cold, but I'm hoping I'm not. Could be just I'm tired. Number 12. I want an anime series that has mostly like female teachers as characters, because I feel like we don't have enough harems that are female teachers. I want that. I've always wanted that. So, anime producers out there, if you happen to watch this video, make this happen. Make a series about anime teachers that, somehow some main character has to like date all of them. I don't care. I just want to see that happen. Number 13, I can only binge watch anime that I really love. That seems weird. That seems like kind of obvious, right? But people I give credit to some people who binge watch stuff that's even garbage, and I'm like, I don't know how you can watch. Like, I know people that binge watch Myoga, and Myoga, I'm like, how the hell on this earth did you binge watch Myoga of all things? But I do know people that did that. Even Absolute Duo, for example, which I think is utterly trash as it is. People have binge watched that. I only have binge watched maybe a good handful of the anime on my list of things that I've seen, and that's, if you think about it, that's incredible. I think realistically, maybe out of the 800 something, I've only binge watched maybe, I'm gonna like lowball it, maybe 50, probably around 50. Number 14, I prefer to watch anime series at my own pace. People give me flack for this too. I do not like watching anime, like binging it like all the time. I don't like watching like 5 episodes a day. I watch it when I feel like watching it. So it's like if it's an older show, I'll watch it in my own time. I'll be like, okay, let me watch 2 episodes a day. Maybe I'll watch 3. The next day I might watch 5. And the next day I might watch none. And then it might be a week before I start up again. I have a weird way of watching anime, but it's more so just I have to watch my own pace, because I feel like if I'm rushed to watch it, or if I feel like I'm on a schedule to watch it, it kind of takes it out of me. The only kind of I want to say rebuttal to that is probably that I will watch stuff obviously seasonal, and that's not a big deal to me, but that's probably the most I'll get there. Number 15, I like anime more. I like anime changes when they're changes from the manga, more than when this series takes everything from the manga and just makes it into an anime. Case in point, Orange, for example. I loved Orange, the manga. I thought the manga was great. The problem was that I watched the anime and I noticed there was very little changes to the very first thing, which is, I know some people love that, but to me it's like, okay, then I'm rewatching what I just read 2 seconds ago. And that to me doesn't sit well with me, because it's like I want something that's slightly different. It doesn't have to be 100% different, because then I think you kind of destroy the essence of what the manga was great about. But something slightly different does help. That's why I kind of like I said back before, I like FMA so much more than the Brotherhood series, just because they changed things up and made it an interesting story while using the concepts from the manga. Number 16, I love Funimation. I love Sentai Works. These are publishers in America. I disdain Aniplex. It's not that I hate them, mind you, I disdain them, for the sheer fact that all their stuff is super pricey, and I don't care what anyone says, half of it's not worth it. I hate to say it. I love Persona. I am a huge diehard fan of Persona. Does not mean that Persona 3 movies are worth almost $80 for a collector's edition. I'm sorry. I don't care if they come with a soundtrack. At most, maybe $40 or $50, fine. you know, with the soundtrack. Look at Your Name, by the way. Your Name is coming out, or maybe it already came out at this point of me doing this video. And, you know, that was a limited edition. That was a $60 limited edition. It's probably the most I've ever paid for a movie before. But it came with a soundtrack that had like 20 songs from the movie. It had art, etc. That to me is worth it, because soundtracks are like $20. I get that, but, you know, by itself it was only a $20 movie. And that's one of the biggest movies out there in the world right now. So it's like, what the hell? Why Aniplex do you have everything at like? Why is Kiznaiver $120 from what I keep hearing about? That's I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna move on because I'm gonna stay on this all day if I don't. Number 17. I prefer dub over sub, but I have seen more sub than I have dub. I know people give me shit for that all the time too. A lot of these things on this list probably people could give me shit for. But I do prefer dub, only because it lets me focus more on the art. I am a very fast excuse me. I'm a very fast reader. I can read at a decent pace that's beyond most people's reading comprehension when it comes to things, because I've read things my whole life for the most part, and I was able to read at a very early age, like at a high school level, and then I think by like middle school I was already almost reading at a college level. If not, I think even before middle school. But the thing is that makes it so I can read without an issue, like the whole thing that shows up on a screen, and then focus on the imagery. But when it's on dub, I can just focus on the dub, and I can just focus on looking at the art without having to worry about subtitles or kind of speed reading through when subtitles are really fast. Because there are some series, like look at the King's Avatar, for example, which is like lightning fast, unless you go on YouTube, which is slightly slowed down, but still, it's really fast. So yeah, I do prefer dub over sub usually, but like I said before, I have seen way more sub than dub. And a lot of times I also watch the sub and then watch the dub because I'm like that. So it's like, you know, it's not that I won't watch sub or be like one of those people that's like, I won't watch that because it's subbed. I will watch anything subbed. Number 18. I once watched anime, kid you not, guys and girls, for almost 15 hours straight. Long day. I might think it's actually slightly past. I might be at like 16 hours. That was the longest time I ever watched an anime without stop. I mean, legit. The only time I stopped was to get a bathroom breaks, and I think to eat dinner at lunch at that time. I was off the whole day. It was back in high school, and it was me watching Eureka 7, and then I switched to something else because I was in the mood for, after Eureka 7 was over, which I think was like 10 hours by itself, I watched the whole thing in one shot almost. Yeah, because I went back to it was either Eureka 7 or it might be something else. It might have been Gurren Lagann. I can't remember off the top of my head now. One of those shows that was it's the one that I binged all the way through like that. I then switched to another show and watched that immediately after. And I remember that like, the whole thing in total was like me watching anime for 15 hours. I did not watch anime for the next couple days. I'll tell you that, guys and girls, right now. I was really burnt out after doing that. Number 19. First anime ever, obviously, for most people that may know me already, you know the answer to this, but if you're new to the channel, my first anime ever technically is Guyver, Bio Boosted Armor Guyver, that came out like the 80s. I watched it obviously in the 90s when I was like 5 years old, maybe 6 years old technically. I've seen obviously other anime before that per se, but I consider it my first major anime because of the fact that it was something I really loved and it got me into anime more than like Pokemon and stuff like that, so I consider it my first anime. Number 20. I love the Love Hina manga. I am a huge fan of Love Hina manga by Ken Akamatsu, but I hate, and I say hate, the anime series. I think the anime series butchers everything that's holy about the manga. So I always tell people that. Number 21. I tend to dislike those who consider themselves anime fans but only have really seen mainstream shows. Now what I mean by that is, if you're new to anime, that's fine. You're going to watch basically mainstream only because you're only used to mainstream. But I've met a lot of people in my life that consider themselves huge anime fans, but have only seen mainstream stuff. They've never gone out of that zone and watched other things. And I'm like, why would you do that? You're not really an anime fan. You have to watch other stuff. You gotta enjoy what's the crux of shows that are more obscure. You can't just watch only mainstream. To me, that's not really being an anime fan. And then I've had some that don't even want to watch other things. They just watch the only thing mainstream because they'll say that's the only thing they can enjoy. Kind of takes the joy out of it being an anime fan to me, but that's just me. Number 22. I dislike overly long series like Case Closed. What I mean by that, not like One Piece or stuff like that. It's not, One Piece, I understand why people love it. I'm not a huge fan of it myself, but I understand why people get it. At least it has a story that changes and it evolves. Case Closed, to me, I watched the first couple hundred episodes of that show, and guess what? It's never different. It's always the same. Every single episode is him solving a case for 3 episodes or 2 episodes. Something happens with his life. That's rinse and repeat for the last 800 something episodes. That's all that's happened to that show. By the way, I apologize for the street cleaner outside. Number 23, I've seen almost every anime genre at least once. I don't think there is any genre I've not seen at least once. I have seen what technically is a Yuri. I didn't watch it all the way through, mind you, but I watched several episodes of it. I have seen Yaoi, and I've also seen, well, I don't want to say, like I said, hentai is probably the only thing I haven't really technically seen, and I don't really consider that a true genre, but some people might. But yeah, I've seen, like I said, I've seen almost every genre. Number 24, and most people know this about me already. I rarely drop any anime I start. Very rarely. Unless it's something that I completely hate and I just don't want to watch it, or it's something that is just not latching onto me after like episodes 4 or 5. And if it has to be something that's like 12 episodes. If it's like 20 something episodes, I'll give it like 10 episodes before I go in. I'm not feeling it. But even then, I typically will watch it. I might put it off to the side, because if you look at my Mal, you'll see like I have 150 I think shows right now currently being watched, but they haven't been touched. I'll put it to the side and just watch it on my own time, or watch it when I feel like watching it. But it's not dropped. It's me going back to it eventually. Number 25. I don't like being told to watch something that I must watch, or that I have to watch, or absolutely must watch it because it's so amazing. It makes me not want to watch this show. I'll be honest with you. I'm picky with anime as it is when it comes to a lot of things. And people will think, well, how can you be picky when you've seen so much anime? It's not that. It's just that now that I have seen so much anime, it makes it where some shows I kind of already have an idea of where they're going to go in terms of story or plot, or even just what they're going to do. So like, for example, harems. Most harems are the same. Most reverse harems are the same, etc. You know, I don't want to watch it right now. I will watch it later. Being told to rewatch it or watch it at a certain time makes me not want to watch it at all. And I've had several people do that to me, where there are plenty of shows that I know are amazing, that I consider awesome, but because they shove it down my throat to watch it, I actually kind of like have this thing mentally where it's like, nope, I don't want to watch it right now. I don't feel like it. Why I'm like that, I don't know. You can ask other people that are like that too, though, because I know I'm not the only one like that. Number 26. Speaking of reverse harems, I don't typically like reverse harems, but I do like some of them, like Dance with Devils. Dance with Devils, for example, I think is one of the best reverse harems I've seen. More recently, Code Realize, I think, is a amazingly beautiful freaking show. You definitely have to go check that out. Kenkan Bansho is technically a reverse harem, but that's an amazing show also. Shows that I don't like is like what's it called? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. So it's something Devils. I know it's not Dance with Devils. It's another show that Diabolical Lovers. That's why I was like trying to think of the name of it. I hate Diabolical Lovers. I'm not a huge fan of Uta Priest season 1. Season 1 of Uta Priest not that great to me. The rest are awesome, actually, for the most part, because they started going away from the reverse harem elements. But yeah, that's just how I am when it comes to that. Number 27. I eventually one day want to own the whole Monogatari series. I've seen people do it. I'll say right now, it's probably one of the most expensive things to do, because going back to one of my first ones, Aniplex is the one that owns it, and they charge a freaking huge amount for sometimes only 4 episodes of a show. Dude, 4 episodes does not equate to $60. What? Come on, that's not... I'm not gonna get into it. I said I'm not gonna get into it because I don't want to. It's just... The people who defend Aniplex, I look at you like, why? I mean, you can do what you want, but really... 28. I don't like over-analysis of anime, meaning... I don't like the people that read anime and like have to then write down everything because it's like, oh, I need to figure out what this is, and oh, let me write this down so I can review it later. Just watch the show. If you really need to, like, if you're really doing a review and you're one of those people that needs to kind of have a thing of notes, which is perfectly fine, I understand that, because look at me, I don't remember certain names because I don't write notes and stuff, but that's my style of anime thing, which I might have a video out for that, talking about that maybe soon, or might have that out before that. So I'm not sure off the top of my head, but I think just when you watch an anime like that, it kind of kills watching the anime. You're not enjoying it. You're actually just looking at it critically, over critically, and you're not paying attention to it. To me, yeah, what you're doing is you're writing notes for something, but you're not really paying attention to what the essence is of the show. I would say that if you want to do notes for an anime series, you should really think about waiting till the show's over and then maybe writing notes about the certain scenes or going back to certain sequences and then doing that. That makes more sense to me than doing it while you're watching the show, because I know people that do, and that to me is a little off-putting. But you know, it's just, you know, if that's what floats your boat, go for it. I'm not gonna give you crap for that. Yeah. Oh, here's my favorite one. This is 29. I wish people would stop pretending like they know Japanese because they've seen anime. Listen, folks, I've seen 800 plus shows, as I said already twice in this listing already. Does not mean I know any Japanese. I know 5 or 6 words of Japanese. Okay, I know kawaii, I know what ikamasu, or I don't even say it correctly technically, so I don't even know that. Konnichiwa. I know various words like that because they're said so many times. You know, nani, like for example, which even if you watch the anime, man, he's even said that's not really overly used word in Japan. It does not mean because you watch anime or read anime you think you're like, oh man, I know now Japanese. No, you don't. You don't. I'm sorry. I laugh something fierce when I see people make videos and say, oh, I was able to watch this whole thing raw because I don't know, but because I know Japanese. Do you really? So if I drop you off in Japan without any guidance whatsoever, you're going to tell me you're going to be able to walk through Japan and be able to contact with people and order food and survive because of anime? No, you're not. You might be able to say there's certain things. I ain't gonna survive in Japan just because you know certain things. To people, I know some people that study it, and you know who you are if you study it. My blessings to you, because that's really hard to do. But at least you're studying it. I can believe that you know Japanese more than the person that just says, I've seen so many shows. No, again, I've been watching anime since I was 5 years old, technically, folks. I've seen dub and sub even at an early age back then when I was a kid. I watched Guyver in Japanese when I was a kid. Does not mean that I'm any closer to understanding Japanese by having watched all these shows in Japanese for the most part. Sorry. A lot of times even with subtitles too. You know, unless they're professionally subtitled, which, like, for example, if you go off illegal sites and stuff like that, they tend to be wrong. And guess what? Also, because, and this is a proven fact, because a lot of words in Japanese don't exist in the English dictionary, not everything you see, because it's said, is then translated correctly. It's something that they put as a placeholder because it makes sense for the dialogue, so you can understand English, but doesn't mean that the actual meaning is the same thing in Japanese. So you're saying something, but it doesn't mean crap. So no, you don't understand Japanese. I'm sorry. Don't want to burst your bubble, but I'm sorry that took me the longest, but it's one of my biggest pet peeves, to be honest with you, in the anime community. Number 30, I kind of said this already, but I didn't say it as a number. I'm picky about romance anime. I really am picky about romance anime. Number 31, I used to spoil anime for myself, and to explain that, way back when I used to buy anime more than I used to watch it off of, you know, actual websites and stuff like that, and I mean like legit websites, I would watch anime and I would buy it, and I would have to buy it because that was like the only means of me back then watching it at all. So if I saw it was a 12 episode show, and I know for a fact by then at a certain point that like most 12 episode shows don't finish things, I would spoil the ending to a degree. Like I'd be like, oh, does it actual end? You know, does it have an ending, or does it have an anime original ending? If it didn't, I wouldn't watch it, or I would watch it later on and not pay for it because I'd be like, oh, I'll watch it off a legit site when it comes out there. But nope. Otherwise, I did spoil it for myself. I know people used to get pissed off. I only did that when I was back in like high school, folks. I haven't done that in a long time, so you know, you can understand though. You're a high school student. You don't have money floating around everywhere. Number 32. I hate Desert Punk. Yes, I despise Desert Punk. It's like probably one of my least favorite anime ever crafted. Number 33, I like to watch anime on my phone. I know people give me shit for that because like, oh, your phone, but your phone's so tiny versus like a TV screen or a computer screen. I like laying down and relaxing and just watching on my phone, and especially because I watch most of my anime like when I'm not, you know, reviewing it or I'm watching with my family or whatever. I watch anime usually by myself and I'm like laying down and relaxing. So for me, it's watching on my phone is a lot easier than watching it on, you know, on a monitor and sitting down on my chair. It's like just me laying down is best for me. But that's just me. Number 34. Man, my voice, I should have really took a water before doing this. Number 34. I love watching commentary on anime Blu-rays and DVDs. I am a huge fan. I'm a huge sucker for that. I will watch as many commentaries as I want because it helps you learn the kind of industry that you're watching, and that's why I consider myself pretty knowledgeable when it comes to like how you know, studios will do, you know, dubbing, voice acting, and stuff like that. I also know like why they do certain things with voice acting in general. What the big difference between the Japanese voice acting and, you know, English voice acting, which is, you know, like a studio. For example, most English voice actors will be individually in a studio by themselves, like a little tiny room, doing their voice roles and stuff like that. Meanwhile, in Japan, what they actually typically do is they have, you know, big rooms with several voice actors in a scene together, doing it like so it's more natural and free flowing. It works better for them because they're not really, you know, having to do certain things with it. But obviously the English, you know, English voice acting does it slightly different because it works better for us that way. So yes, I do really like watching commentary. I love watching commentary only when I've seen the series, mind you. I don't like watching it until the end. I'm not one of those people that's like watches it during the show. Excuse me. Now this one's gonna be a little long because it's like several questions, but it's also several, I think, kind of, you know, things that I don't really talk about very much in these kind of, you know, tag videos. Number 35 is my favorite male voice actors in dub are Johnny on Bosch, Liam O'Brien, Vic Mignogna, and David Matranga. Those are my favorites. And there's, you know, other ones that I like too, but those are my like top 5 essentially. Number 36 is my favorite Japanese voice actors are Yoshisugu Matsuko and Mamoru Miyari. I can never say his name. He's one of the most famous voice actors because he does a lot of the music too, and I butcher his name everyone. And I know there's some fangirls out there that probably want to kill me right now, and I'm sorry to you in advance, but you know who I'm talking about. Number 37, female voice actors that are English. Colleen Clickenbeard, Laura Bailey, Monica Rial, and Lucy Christian are my favorites, obviously. Number 38, female Japanese voice actors would be Haruka Tomatsu and Raika Kogamiya. They're probably my favorites, especially Raya, because I know her from a lot of older stuff. She's even been in TV shows and stuff like that, so I really do love her as a voice actress. But yeah, those two are my favorites. There are some other ones too, but you know, I'm kind of like a lot of them. I hate not to say sound the same to me, but most of them just don't have like this kind of originality to them, versus like the example like a lot of the English ones do. That's probably just because I'm not Japanese, obviously, again. So it's like you hear, one of the things is you hear some, you know, subtle differences, obviously, but at the end of the day, like I only have a few that I know for a fact, like, oh that's her, you know, off the top of my head, and usually the rest is like, I think I know where you're from, but I don't know off the top of my head without looking it up, you know what I mean? Anyways, number 39, and please don't get mad at me if I said some of these people's names wrong. I apologize. Number 39 is also something most people know about me. I used to read more manga back in the day than to watch anime. As I got older, I started watching more anime again. When I first was a kid, obviously I watched a lot of anime. Then I started reading manga when I started reading like Love Hina and stuff like that, which again is one of my favorite series. It's just how I was. I don't know why I was like that, and I don't know why I switched out of manga to like more anime stuff. Recently I've started picking back up manga again, but I still watch anime more than I read manga. Okay, number 40. I dislike most. Wait, I'm trying to think. I couldn't read my own handwriting for a second. I dislike most anime arguments, meaning I hate with the passion hearing people argue about some of the most asinine things in the anime community, like, what's your favorite shonen? Oh, my favorite's this. Well, that's not right. My favorite's this one, and this is. That to me is pointless. Listen, people, everything in anime is subjective. Just like what you like and dislike what you dislike. There's nothing wrong with that. I might give people a hard time like, oh, how can you dislike that? But I'm not actually being serious. I'm not going to start fighting you for 10 hours straight about you disliking a show or disliking this or that. It's just pointless to me, honestly. But people do it anyways. By the way, last 9 questions, thank God. And I understand now why Lita's video was 34 minutes. Number 41. I've always wanted to join an anime club in real life. Unfortunately, back when I used to go to school, anime was not really that big yet, and it's, you know, when I started going through high school, still wasn't that big. When I finally finished high school, hey, look, we opened an anime club in my school. I was so pissed off about that, folks. I'm serious. My school opened an anime club the year I left, and I'm like, what? Why? And I know the person who did, and I'm like, why didn't you do it sooner? I would have joined. I would have been like one of the vice presidents for that damn club. Seriously. But in my college had, I think, one, but we had such awkward timings at the time that it's like I couldn't really go to it, so it didn't work out for me, unfortunately. Number 42. I'm not afraid to tell people I love anime. I've told random strangers before that I watch anime. It's really not a big thing to me. I don't know why people are afraid to do it. Number 43. I wish people would stop judging a series based on the studio that makes it. For example, Studio Period. I know Studio Clown, as most people know it as, is really disliked in the anime community for a lot of reasons because their work sometimes is really kind of shoddy. But that does not mean all their stuff is shoddy. A lot of stuff they've made in the past that actually was really good. So it's like, why are you judging it based off of that? Why do you think that just because a studio like Brain Base is always going to make something amazing, why do you think Kyoto Annie is always going to do a phenomenal show? These are companies that could do great shows, obviously, and also could do shows that are like mediocre, and it's happened before. But it's like, don't judge it until you see it. That's probably the best thing I can give you. Number 44, I think I'm at, which I hope, yeah, I'm number 44. I grew out of most child anime shows, but I'll watch them for nostalgia purposes. Meaning, like, stuff like Pokemon, Digimon, I really can't like anymore as much as I used to. I'm really loving the Digimon movies. I think those are awesome because they're really kind of more grown up than anything else. But a lot of shows like the original Pokemon, it's kind of hard to watch now as an adult. Doesn't mean I dislike it. I can't really get into it as much as I used to. I still love the franchise. Like I still have like the Pokemon games and stuff like that. Some of them I play. I haven't played really one of the bigger ones in a long time, but I do want to get the updated version of Sapphire because that was like one of my favorites. But yeah, that's just me. Number 45. So we got 5 more left after this. Most of my waifu or anime waifu are of my age or older. That should be obvious why. I'm not a fan. Like, as you grow older, folks, it's kind of weird to see a high school girl anime-wise and be like, oh man, I love that girl. Doesn't mean I don't have those kind of, waifus in the anime world, but I typically like teachers, as many of you know. And I typically like older girls in general anime, so it's like, because they're my age. It's like, I can kind of get more with them in my head than someone that's too young. But that's just me. And like I said before, I have plenty of waifus that are not, I want to say of my age, obviously, but most of my real ones are like older than me or around my age. For example, perfect example, girl from Dusk Made Amnesia, Yuko. She is technically a ghost, so she's like hundreds of years old. That's such a slap to anyone's face when I say that. Number 46. Some anime fans love anime a little too much. This is my mind. I kind of dislike that. Listen, folks. Again, I've watched anime my whole life. Basically, I've put, I think, almost technically a year's worth of my life, so that's 27 years, technically 1 year of it has gone into anime in terms of time. That is crazy when you think about it, but at the same time, I love anime, but I also still have this kind of thing where anime is always an entertainment medium. It has, obviously, life lessons sometimes. It has, means of getting you pumped up or even ready to do something in life or general, but there are some anime fans that I think live in anime, and those are people that I kind of look at and I'm like, maybe you need to dial back a little bit, just a little bit. There's nothing wrong with loving anime. Obviously, we all love anime in the anime community, but there is a real world too that you're in, and when I see some people that are not knowing anything about the real world versus they only know stuff about anime, that does scare me a little bit. I'm not saying you have to be a genius of everything world-wise and world knowledge, but when someone asks you, what's going on in the current events, and you say, I don't know, but I know what anime is coming out today, it's a little scary. Just me though. But listen, like I said, I love anime myself, so don't feel like I'm bashing anyone in general. I'm just saying that there are some people that I do look at with the kind of like, you love anime maybe a little too much, so maybe dial that back a little bit. There is a world outside too. It's over there. It does exist. I know specifically if there's 2 people that are watching this right now, they probably get flipped out because I'm not really aiming that per se at them, but at the same time they probably do know I'm aiming at them. And I apologize because I'm not doing that really to kind of insult you. Obviously, if I wanted to, I would say your names, but I'm not going to do that. Anyways, number 47. Let's see. Oh, most rewatched anime for me is definitely Dusk Made Amnesia. I've seen that almost 10 times. From beginning to end, mind you, not skipping episodes. I mean, from beginning to end, I've seen that 10 times. And Steins Gate I've seen about maybe 7 or 8 times now. I've seen it, and kid you not, I've seen it twice in sub because I loved it so much. I saw it twice in dub. I saw it with my dad once. I saw it with my best friend. We watched it together. I watched it more recently again just because I wanted to go all the way through it again. And I watched it, I think, one other time with someone else who I think was one of my other friends who we decided to watch it online. So I watched it 7 times around that. Best man that I think I've watched legit 10 times. Okay, number 48. I feel like most shonen are the same. It's basically self-explanatory. Like, most shonen shows to me are the same. I don't dislike shonen. I love shonen. It's just that most have this kind of like, oh, here's the base character. He's gonna lose. He's gonna get stronger from loss. He's gonna get out there, get better, and then rinse and repeat 100 times. Number 49. I love writing about anime. Obviously, as many of you know, I work for Honey's Anime. I love writing about anime. It's one of the coolest things ever. Seriously, it's something that brings me a lot of joy, and it's not just because I'm just saying that. I'm just saying that because you have no idea. Like, I love doing top lists and stuff like that because I just get to talk about favorite shows and shows that. And I've actually found a whole bunch of shows because of doing work for them. It's the fact that, like, oh, I never knew this existed. I'm gonna go check it out now and go watch it and watch a little bit of it or whatever, and then I write about it. Or even basically half the time when I've done my list already, I basically know what the show is already. So it's like I don't really need to watch it, but I know it for the most part. And then finally, number 50. I wrote many fan fictions in my life. I'm not joking about that. I have wrote a lot of fan fictions. Quick story about that, and I can't believe this thing's longer than 35 minutes, which beats Lita. So don't feel bad, Lita. Look at that. I tried to make this shorter, and look how it turned out. But anyways, with the story of the last story I'll end this with, fanfiction wise, I actually used to hate people that used to write fanfictions. Mind you, that's back when I was in like middle school, because I was starting to get. Obviously I've been writing my whole life. I've been writing since I was a little kid. Most people know. You know, I used to have a notebook around me all the time, and I used to write about it. I'm not gonna talk too much more about that because I actually have a video that's coming out, me talking about my writing hobby in general. And I wanted to kind of share that with you guys, so I want to save that for a video I plan on doing. But with anime, you know, fan fictions and stuff like that, I used to always think when I was younger that it's kind of changing the story of the author, and it's kind of insulting. That's what I used to think when I was younger. When I got to middle school, I think it was one of my friends named Andrea. She was a great girl. And, you know, she told me, like, hey, you know, I love writing fan fictions. Why do you have so many problems with it? And I told her the same reason I said. And she goes, no, what we're doing is we're showing love to the series that we love so much. You know, we get to see a creation, and then we get to, you know, kind of ship our own character together and take some work and kind of tweak it off. And it's not really to insult the creator. It's just more so to kind of honor him or her. And after that, I realized she's absolutely freaking right. So what happened was, after that, I started writing a lot of fan fictions. I think my first one was for Inuyasha, because I wanted to write one for her to ask her opinion on it. I wrote several for various other shows I can't think off the top of my head. More recently, I wrote a lot for my ex-girlfriend. Wow, a lot. I mean, like probably like 15. I kid you not. Which, you know, it's like I won't get that time back anytime soon. But you know, even then when I was doing it, it still was a lot of fun to me. So it's like, you know, I don't write as much now, only because it's like I kind of lost it after the whole breakup thing. I kind of lost interest in doing it again, and also because I've been, you know, I write more for, you know, Honey's Anime than anything else. I typically don't have a lot of free time to write for myself. So I really don't like doing fan fictions when I'm like busy or stuff like that. But I do still write from other things, and I still find a means to write for other things. But yeah, I do love writing fan fictions. I do have quite often a lot of them. If you guys ever want, I will bring some of those out. I might change some of the characters that I have, you know, referenced, because they are based off real people, and I don't want to kind of put them out there in the world. But I will maybe do them if you guys want. Comment down below if you want me to ever do that. I will maybe read some fan fictions I've written in the past. You know, it's up to you though. Anyways, I am done. My voice is gone. I will talk to you guys later. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys and girls. Have a great blessed day, everyone. God bless you all. Bye bye.